everyone. I'm Kathryn Soley, and this is 1-800-CALL-KATHRYN. And today I have a very special guest with me in the studio. Why don't you come and join us?
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
So today's a very special Valentine's Day episode. And so since it's Valentine's Day, I have a repeat guest, Sam.
I took off my wedding ring when I was working out earlier.
You have to go put it on.
Keep going. We're gonna... This is part of the show now.
Okay. Sam took his wedding ring off because he was weightlifting with the barbell, and he took it off. But we can't have a Valentine's Day episode without his wedding ring. So Sam was on with me last year. We did a Valentine's Day episode, and so we thought we would do it again this year. So we have some calls from you guys about love and relationships, and Sam's going to join me here. And just like I said last year, he's not just here because he's my husband and I just wanted him on the show.
We got married.
We got married, yes. Last year, Valentine's Day, we were not married, but now we are. But he's not just on because he's my husband, but he also knows, he's very knowledgeable about tarot and lots of different topics that are related in this world. So I think he is a knowledgeable guest who has things to input.
We should do an episode where I'm just fanning you with the big leaf.
I think you might have said that last time.
They still want to do it.
Just go like full ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you have anything to say before we get started? Do you want to...
No, I have nothing to...
Did I introduce you appropriately?
Yeah, I mean, you left out all my titles, but...
Should we hear from our first caller?
Yeah.
Okay. Oops.
Hi, Kathryn. This is Renee, longtime listener, first-time caller. I'm calling today because I've been seeing this guy for a while now, and we really get along well. We have a lot in common. We both want to buy a farm someday and live off the land and teach other people about plants. And I guess that's part of the problem. He's always saying he wants to do things, and he creates all these plans, but then he never follows through. Not just that he doesn't follow through, but he doesn't take any steps to make anything happen. I'm not the most productive person myself, but when I say I want to do something, I try to make it happen. I just don't know if it's worth waiting around for him to figure it out, or if I should try and find someone that is more honest about what they want and what they can do. Thanks again. Love the show.
All right, Renee.
Okay. And if you want to see, just to remind, I have it right next to me.
Okay.
See the transcript there.
I think I got it.
But, okay, so Renee's calling in because there's a guy she's seeing, a lot in common, but he doesn't follow through with what he says he's going to do. And Renee sounds like... I can hear the frustration in her voice in the call. Yeah, let's shuffle these cards and let's see what we have for you, Renee. Don't peek. I haven't even done that many episodes since our last Valentine's Day episode. I didn't do a lot last year. Did you like that incense?
Yeah, I can smell it, but I don't know.
Maybe it went out.
Because it doesn't have the thing. So,
Pull these cards here. Okay, so we have the Six of Pentacles, Judgment, and the Seven of Wands. And Sam is lighting this new incense that we really like. Tibetan. Oh, you brought the box. Tibetan healing. We've been lighting a stick every night before bed. It's very nice.
It's good. Highly recommend it.
Okay, so again, we have the Six of Pentacles, Judgment. Watch the language.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And Seven.
Fudge.
Seven of Wands.
Okay.
So it's interesting, what calls my attention first is the Judgment card, which when I see the Judgment card come up in a reading, it usually means that, well, I won't say usually, but it can often mean that things from the past are coming up in order for us to look at them. We may be coming to terms with something. So in relationship to your call here, there may be something, I don't know how long you said for a while now, so I don't know how long that is. My guess is a while now is probably under a year, right? Like usually you say a while now. If you're dating over a year, you probably say for a year or something like that. But so I don't know. So it's not that something from your past is necessarily going to be with this guy coming up, but there may be some kind of pattern of something from your past. Maybe you've had relationships like this before. Maybe this is a pattern that's familiar from a parent growing up where there's promises made, or and then you're waiting for, oh yeah, dad said he's gonna do this thing with me, and you're waiting and waiting for this thing, like believing that it's going to happen, and then it doesn't. And so something like that, for an example. Or it could mean, in addition to that or separately from that it may just be time to really look at something within the relationship, things coming to, what was the language that I used, coming to a head, or I don't know. What do you think about the Judgment card in relationship to this call or this question?
Yeah, I think something's kind of coming into the light,
right,
and like a pattern. You're having insight into like a pattern of a situation that you kind of get yourself in, and it's taking on the template of this relationship. It may not be that the previous templates it took on had anything to do with the relationship in the same way, but, well, some kind of relationship to something. But so the guy that you're with is reflecting that back to you. And then the rest of the, Six of Pentacles, that's kind of like what's driving you, kind of a one of this like balance in your world. That's moving forward steadily in alignment with like what you want. And then go ahead.
Well, I was going to say more about that Six of Pentacles. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
That the six, in tarot, we look at numerology with tarot and the numbers, the meaning of the numbers. And six is a number that's a pretty balanced number. All the even numbers really are. But with the Six of Pentacles, there's this desire to kind of create something within your physical world experience, which is what you're saying here, that you want to buy a farm someday, live off the land, and teach people about plants. It's like a very physical world's kind of idea, experience. And so you're wanting to find that balance in your life, and just wondering, is it with this guy or not?
I have a thought.
Yeah.
So I think it might be important to relate to the guy as it's not his fault. He's just reflecting back something. And it may be that you do need to leave this guy to pursue, that he's that relationship has come to an end. But I think if you approach it more cleanly, that he's just reflecting back like a tendency to kind of get yourself in a certain type of stagnancy, a certain type of situation where there's some kind of impediment. Not that it's happened, I'm not saying it's happened a lot in your life, but that's how I relate to these cards. But if you can relate to it as he's just filling that role, and kind of have that sense of forgiveness or understanding for him, regardless of whether you leave him or not, that may also take down a barrier within him, because he may have a relationship to being asked to do something like this and feeling like he can't, so he has a psychological block. But when you both are playing out a game together, it's hard for both parties to see. But if you stop and you see this as just like a psychological, karmic, whatever situation that he's taking this role in, he might also be able to stop his pattern and decide if he wants to actually pursue this change in lifestyle with you or not. Does that make sense? It's kind of...
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, you definitely shouldn't settle for something you don't want, a situation you don't want.
Okay, and then the Seven of Wands. Often when I think about the Seven of Wands, so with all the suits, so we have the Major Arcana, which is what the Judgment card is in. And usually when people think about tarot, they think about the Major Arcana, like the iconic cards, Death, the Lovers, the Sun, things like that. And then there's the suits. There's the Wands, Swords, Cups, and Pentacles. And each of those 4 suits corresponds to a different element and to a different type of energy in life. And so the Pentacles, like I mentioned, have to do with physical world experience, which actually I didn't mention. I just said physical world experience, but I didn't mention why. It's because it's with the Pentacles. But with the Wands have to do with the element of fire, and they have to do with our vitality, our life force, movement, energy, that kind of thing. Sam knows well as a Aries Sun, Aries Rising.
Yep.
And the Seven of Wands can be, I think it can come up sometimes when we're feeling like our energy's a little bit thwarted, which, I've never thought of it quite that way in a reading, but it makes sense for this particular situation that you're in right now. Like I said, when I can hear in your call and your voice, you sound kind of frustrated. You sound like you've had enough, which, sometimes in relationship times, sometimes there's moments where we're frustrated and it feels like I've had enough, but then we kind of settle down, we zoom out and see the bigger context, the bigger picture, and then it's not so upsetting, not so triggering. But I can really hear that in your voice. And so, with that Seven of Wands, I wonder if there's just this feeling of feeling like your energy is being thwarted in some way, or you're having a hard time kind of navigating how to work with the energy within this situation. Because in some ways, it can be hard if you're very close with someone in any kind of relationship, friendship, business partnership, relationship, family member, where you have plans for your life, plans for the future in some way, and you're kind of hinging that on this person saying they want to do something, and you're putting your life energy into that. You're putting your mind, your emotions, maybe your finances into that. And if the other person on the end of this is not meeting it in the same way that you are, that can be exhausting, and it can feel like a waste of time and a waste of energy, and it can create this feeling of uncertainty of, where is my life going? Where is this all going? And so I guess overall, with these first 3 cards, I would just say something with that Judgment card, that there's something it's come to a place where you need to evaluate things, where you need to look at what has transpired in the past that brought you to this situation. And like Sam said, it's not necessarily his fault, and it's not necessarily your fault either that this kind of situation has happened. We all have our certain patterns and life experiences and wounds that we're carrying with us into relationship that color our experience of relationship and the way that we interact with other people and the way that we interact with the world and the way that we interact with ourselves. But regardless of that, there's something, my guess with the Judgment card here, if the Judgment card wasn't here, I wouldn't necessarily jump to there's something from your past. But since the Judgment card is here, that does make me think that there may be something from your past where you've had a similar relationship to this in some way, where someone is promising things and not delivering. And so maybe this is an opportunity for you to kind of work through that, either with him or through leaving the relationship. What do you think?
But it's in seeing that is where the really wisdom comes, removing yourself from that wheel, as it were, and then seeing what happens of a pattern that's unconscious, that's occurring again. And as I was saying, in seeing it, and kind of allows you to step back from it, it allows you, if there's a partner involved with this kind of configuration, to approach them in a way that just doesn't perpetuate maybe a resistance of some kind that they're having. And that way you don't have to later, one or the other regrets what's going on because you were too close or too unconscious when the decisions were made. Anyway.
Yeah. No, that's good. Should I pull an oracle card for some guidance with these themes going forward, or do you think that there's more to say about these three?
No, I think there's... I don't know. Yeah, pull an oracle card.
Okay. We have the Myth card here, which seems appropriate for this reading in terms of the stories or the myths that we have, the stories or the myths that we tell ourselves. And this makes I feel the correlation between that Myth card and the Judgment card, that there may be, again, something from the past, something that's built into your personal mythos around relationship and what you will and will not tolerate, so to speak. Tolerate, I don't know if that's quite the right word. Maybe it is. But it's just regardless of whether I might be a little too specific in saying what you will or will not tolerate, but besides that, it's touching into like this story from the past, the story from the past that the Judgment card seems to be pointing to. There's something there from the past, from your life, that is perhaps coloring your perspective in this situation.
Yeah, if it was easier just to say, just leave this guy, but because of this, it sounds like you want to do this with this other person, and obviously things like that are a lot easier if you have someone to do them with.
Yeah, for sure.
Hence why it's important to kind of step outside of it a little bit. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know that I have that much more to say about this. It feels like in some ways a pretty straightforward reading.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that there's too much complication here. I would say like the biggest piece is probably reflecting on the myths, the stories that you have around this. And maybe is that too general of a thing to say? Like, to be more specific. I mean, I feel like I've touched on the specifics in terms of
it seems like we've said enough.
Okay.
Maybe hopefully she can extrapolate something from it.
I know, I just feel like there's something, like one more thing that I'm not quite hitting. Oh, well, I guess one more thing that I will say, and if when I give readings in person with people or on Zoom or something, I will usually ask them, have you talked to your partner about this? Like, is this something that's been directly addressed with your partner, or is it something that is just bothering you but hasn't been spoken? Because you want to make sure that you can give your partner the opportunity to correct. And it might sound like, well, no, of course I have, but for some people, it's not an obvious thought. You know, sometimes we can just expect the other person should just do or behave a certain way and know that I'm upset about this, but sometimes they don't.
And that's, I think, why it's important to see it as a theme, or like a myth, your personal, like, reoccurring situation to communicate clean. Anyway, I'm just repeating myself.
Okay.
So that's it. You did good.
Okay. Well, I hope this works out. I hope you get your farm collar, and I hope that whether it's with this guy or
you'll get it.
Someone else.
You'll get it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Should we hear from our next caller?
Yeah.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I think... Should we do the one with the thick accent? This lady has a thick accent.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Hello, Kathryn and Sam. I'm calling for the relationship questions you asked, and I really enjoyed your last Valentine's video. It was great, and it was really on point on exactly what I was going through at the time. So my question today is, of course, about relationships, and for me it's about the fear of losing myself with somebody, and because I've had to look at myself and why I ended up in a relationship, a marriage, and what I did of having no boundaries, losing, finding like a pleasure in losing myself in the other one, and finding like a refuge, and currently I know I have this fear of, like, I'll never live in the same house with somebody because then I lose myself, and at the same time today I was reading about the Vestal Virgins, and I just felt like, oh, that's what I want. I want to live my life through myself, not through another person, another partner, or it happens the same with friendships. I tend to mesh and lose all boundaries and etc. So yeah, it was just what are your thoughts? You're also you're a couple, and I don't know. I feel like I'm not ever going to be able to have a partner without losing myself. And at the same time, I think like am I closing myself to love? And because there's the love, the real one, and then there's the drug one, the illusion. But thank you so much for everything. Bye.
Where do you think she's from? Italian?
Spanish?
It's like,
I don't know. Or Latin America?
Russian.
I have no idea
tell.
at all.
I can't tell.
I don't think
either.
it's Russian. Her voice has a romantic flourish in it, so I imagine it's like...
Yeah. Okay, so this is something that, although, different in my own way, I can kind of relate to, about having a hard time. I mean, I assume it's the same thing you say, having no boundaries, losing yourself in another person, or a similar kind of ground that I tend to struggle with myself in my life, of when you're very open and very sensitive, it's sometimes hard to feel what everyone around you is feeling.
I keep fucking breaking this chair.
Oh no.
This
chair, I found this chair at an estate sale right when I was starting this show. It was green. It was like, you can kind of see the green paint. It was like the exact same color as the green screen. But I saw it from the street. I wasn't going to stop at that estate sale. And then it ended up being, we live in kind of like tiny town,
Fuck, I just made it worse.
Iowa. Oh, Sam. but it keeps breaking. But anyway, I wasn't expecting in Tiny Town, Iowa, for there to be...
In Tiny Town. That's where we live, Tiny Town.
But there was so much cool stuff in that house. Like a lot of really cool stuff. Anyway. Okay, let's shuffle these cards. Let's see what we
What's
have.
her name?
Oh, she didn't leave. She didn't leave her name. Sometimes people leave their names, sometimes not. Which, by the way, if you guys want to keep calling into the show, I haven't been shooting as many episodes. Just life's been a little strange, but last year. But if you have questions, if you want to be on the show, keep calling in, and it's a way to get a free reading, obviously.
The lines are filling up, so call in now.
You know, I thought when I started doing this, I thought I would be able to find more YouTube old like commercial clips of Psychic Hotline commercials. There's a few, but there's not
Or they took it down for
a lot.
They want to own their product for some weird reason, or
I mean,
maybe no one uploaded it.
Yeah, I just don't know. But anyway, but keep calling in with any questions. You know, we're just answering love questions today, but I'll probably shoot another episode sometime soon. I have a few more calls that have come in recently. And if you want to get a reading from me, not on the show, you can do so at kathrynsoli.com/tarot.
I called a psychic hotline when I was like 9 years old with all my cousins at my grandpa's house. And I talked to her for like 20 minutes because we thought, based on the infomercial, that it was like the first 30 minutes are free. But it's something like the first 30 minutes for the first 1 minute every time you call is free, or some like weird twist of words. What? So I talked to her for like 20 minutes and I just made up stuff. And I was like, tell me about my guardian angels and stuff like that. And then there was like a $36 phone bill, and my grandpa, he called my dad and he was like, why do I have this at my house when you guys are visiting or something? So I had to confess, and I just said it was an accident. Which it was, but
it was, yeah.
I don't know what other consequence there was.
I always wanted to call those numbers, but I was too scared.
Yeah, I was lying to the woman, so if she actually was psychic, she's probably like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, she could probably hear that you were 9 years old.
I was using my big boy voice.
I think you...
Hello. Yes, I would like to know about my guardian angels.
Do you remember what she told you?
I have no idea.
Because maybe she was right.
I think she was like, yeah, like she was a little bit like, yeah, you have a guardian angel. She was a little bit, she didn't have the certainty that I was looking for. Probably because she could tell something was off. Or she's just the scammer.
Do they still have, I guess they must still have websites, and...
It seems like it's a great way to make money.
I wish. I make no money doing this.
You should get a 100 number, a real one.
A 1-800
and then just sit by the line.
Well, I was looking at, when I started this, I was like, I'll get a 1-800 number, and it's really expensive. I forget what it costs, but I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And plus, 1-800 call Kathryn was already taken. I mean, it's too many numbers.
You get
anyway.
like people calling and like breathing into the phone. Probably. I don't know. You need multiple lines so you could like.
Oh, to take live readings.
Yeah.
I feel like. Well, anyway. This could be. I wish it was still the 90s. I would make a TV commercial.
Well, if it was the 90s, you could have your own like storefront, like your own.
Right, that's true.
Maybe someday.
Anyway, all of that stuff though is why tarot has a bad name. Why people don't trust it. Why they think it's like ridiculous. It's not real. Is because of
Mama Cleo.
Things like that.
Is that her name?
No, Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo. Who I think was a real psychic. There was some HBO documentary that came out about her a
Where's she
while
now?
ago.
She's still alive?
She's dead, but I didn't watch it, that documentary. Anyway, I owe this entire show to Miss Cleo, so...
What will you ask me?
I've been waiting to talk to you.
Oh, bless you.
Because I know you got something to tell me.
I see a card of police, documentation, and then someone watching you very closely, all right?
I know exactly who you're talking about,
Yeah.
and I can't believe that you can see that.
Who are all these other older men around you? Do you have a lot of men in your family?
Yes, my grandmother had 6 sons.
You're really afraid at night, honey.
I am.
Yeah, 4
Oh,
nights.
my
The last 4
gosh.
nights you've been scared to death,
Yeah.
all right?
I
Let me-
can't sleep at night. Well, I can't believe you knew that.
You don't trust him, so that's a problem.
Yeah.
Honey, I'm on my way.
Oh, my goodness.
You hear me? On my way probably means about 2.5 hours.
Oh, you got it. You
Yeah.
got it.
Are you afraid that someone is keeping a secret from you? Call now for a free tarot reading and discover the truth today.
Miss Cleo, you are the best.
Call 1-800-799-4603.
She's in her next life.
She might watch the show in her next life.
Yeah.
She'll
You could
call
be
in.
watching. When do you think she died?
I don't know. Should I look it up
Like
really
2000?
quick? This is like, sorry guys. I never do things. She died in 2016, so she's like,
A
you know,
little-
9 years old now.
She watches your show. She's the only 9-year-old.
That was like when you called in, you were 9.
What year was she born?
62. She died at age
Oh, cool.
53.
I wonder
in
what she was
Palm
like in the
Beach.
70s. She's probably cool.
Yeah, and I think she didn't make any money, really.
What?
I think she got taken advantage of.
Life and death. How did she pass?
She had
She has a
cancer.
daughter. So her daughter's out. Maybe her daughter watches.
Okay, anyway.
Palm Beach, Florida.
We'll have to watch that documentary, although
Age
it's
53.
probably not good. Okay, anyway. That was like a really long
This episode is
segue.
dedicated to Miss Cleo.
Okay. I'll have to end the episode with a
Little,
dedication.
yeah.
Okay. Anyway. Shall we pull
You
these
shall.
cards?
All right, let's. You can
Okay.
just channel back into the.
Yeah. Okay. So we have the Tower, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles. And so normally when I give tarot readings, for whatever reason I haven't added it to these shows, but usually anytime I give a reading, whether through my Patreon or which on the Patreon, by the way, I do monthly tarot forecasts, which if you join at the $2 a month tier, which is not very much, you can get these monthly tarot forecasts. Was the candle wax drift?
Collective tarot.
But I usually, at the beginning of a tarot reading, I will say, if a card like Death or the Tower or the Devil shows up, it doesn't mean anything bad's gonna happen. It doesn't mean you're gonna die. Because some of these cards get a bad reputation. The Tower card, it doesn't look, in this deck, it looks kind of friendly almost. But the deck that most people are familiar with, which is the Rider-Waite or the Rider-Waite Coleman-Smith deck, it looks like frightening. But it's just symbolic of change. And this makes a lot of sense, this card coming up in relationship to your question here, because it sounds like, you just had, well, actually I don't know how long ago your marriage was, but I have the sense it's probably not too long ago that it ended, but something like that happening is a big change, marriage ending is a big change. And something else that I say at the beginning of my readings in my little spiel is that I don't do spreads, so there's not like a past, present, future position to the cards or anything like that, but I do look at how they lay themselves out, and I do think it's kind of interesting to see that the Queen of Pentacles is looking over at the Tower card. Did you have a thought?
As though, like, are you saying as though, like, this is already kind of come to pass? Like, this is...
I would say that this has already come to pass, the Tower card.
And it's kind of figuring out.
Yeah, I think the Queen of Pentacles is kind of putting her energy into what has already happened.
So she's come to a place where she can see that this, whatever pattern here,
Yeah.
and that's in seeing the pattern, it kind of collapses it.
Right. It's so true. If you are this applies to anyone listening who has any kind of psychological issues. the first and most important step, I think, maybe you disagree with me, is noticing it, is knowing that it's there, because we have so many kinds of patterns that we are just entrenched in that we don't even know are there. And so as soon as you see it, you notice it, that means it's on the way to transformation and release. And, you know, that journey can take years to release or process some kind of deep-rooted system.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, or at least to give you space around it, because as you
it
just
gives
said,
you some space around it.
processing a system can be difficult. It doesn't have to take years if you had an excellent therapist, but that's like very hard to find, or take ayahuasca ceremony.
And even then, sometimes it's not.
What I like about this deck is that in the tarot card and the Jodorowsky deck, it's like they're touching the ground as the people who falling out of the tower. It's like they're planting the seeds. They're planting like new seeds in the ground. They're examining the earth.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of when you say that too, and I look over at the Queen of Pentacles. So as we mentioned in the last reading, Pentacles have to do with the element of earth. They have to do with our physical world experience. And she's holding a pentacle, but thinking about, so in the Tower card, one way that people look at it, like Sam just said, is that the people that have fallen, they're planting seeds. So it's like something has fallen, something that you thought was solid and forever, some identity, some way of relating to yourself has fallen. You know, you can't rely on this tower, so to speak, anymore. But in that fall, new seeds are being planted, and that's something that I really like to think about with the Tower card, instead of just, oh, the tower fell, you're fucked. Like, life is like bad, life sucks, you know? And so that Queen of Pentacles, it's almost like she's holding a seed in this case, and she's kind of thinking about, what am I going to do with this seed that's been planted? So the Queen of Pentacles, you know, when I think about her, the queens I think of, so in tarot there's the court cards, page, knight, queen, and king. And I think about the queens as being a very nurturing aspect of their suit. So there's this energy of kind of nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, taking care of whatever kind of fell during this last relationship, thinking about what you want to plant for the future, and nourishing yourself through that. And then in combination with that, we have the Two of Pentacles. And when I think about the Two of Pentacles, I think about finding, you're just beginning to find balance within this new way of relating to the world, relating to your physical expression, your way of relating to the world, where you're really just finding the balance. You haven't quite found it yet, but you're on your way to that. And you know, these kind of, it sounds like, you know, with that Tower card there, like we were saying, if you're becoming aware of it is like that first step. And it sounds like you seem quite aware of it, because you're not only saying that it was in this marriage, but you're saying that you also have this issue with friendships, that you have this tendency to just lose yourself in relationship with other people. And I'm very sympathetic to that. It's a hard thing, you know, to work with. And just like we mentioned in the last reading, looking back to early life imprints, early life conditioning, like, was this something that you had to do with a parent growing up, where you needed to enmesh with them in order to be safe, where you had to track them? This can come up in instances where there's more severe things like physical abuse, sexual abuse, alcoholism, various kinds of addictions, where the parent is very unpredictable and unsafe. But it can also come up in situations just where there's maybe your parents were fighting with each other. Like, it had nothing to do with you, but it was like, it was stressful to be in that environment, or, you know, other kind of more subtle things where it was, you had to track. And I think when you combine someone who grows up in an environment like that, but who already naturally has a certain openness, like an energetic or kind of psychic, so to speak, openness, then you can get into real trouble, because you're taking like a natural kind of ability that you have, and now it's being funneled through trauma. And so then you can't separate, I'm going to start, you know, enmeshing with everyone around me, and knowing how everyone around me is feeling without having a choice around it.
Yeah, and you think it's just your lot in life. Like, oh, I'm an empath, so I'm always overwhelmed by always taking things on, or something like that.
I have like a crusade against that, as someone who absolutely would qualify as like highly sensitive person, introvert, empath, whatever, all the different labels, like, to the nth degree. But it's not, I think it's not helpful. It's helpful to know, you know, okay, yeah, I'm getting overwhelmed in this situation because I'm taking on too much. Like, it's good to be aware of that. But it's trauma, and you can work through it, and it takes, you know, work, but you can definitely.
And then you'll still be sensitive and
you'll
emotional,
still be
but
sensitive.
it won't have anywhere to overwhelm
trigger.
you.
It's not gonna like land in something. And yeah, and you know, you're saying like you feel like you're never gonna be able to have a partner, you're never gonna be able to live with someone without losing yourself, and it's just not true. And you may find, you know, a partner who, you know, understands your plight, and will help you kind of work through it. You know, Sam has helped me in certain ways work through it. He's kind of pushed me in some situations to like, pushed me to like, I don't know, my threshold around being overwhelmed by other people's feelings, and he'll always remind me like to come back to myself in that situation.
And in the same way Kathryn has pushed me, it pushes maybe a dramatic term.
I know.
But we've worked with these types of themes, you know, of like, where are my blocks to intimacy, where are my blocks to trust, how much am I just like resisting feeling loved or feeling responsibility for the person I'm with, versus that person like being too clingy on me, and then we both do the work together to figure out like what's what here. So if you can find someone who wants to kind of work on the relationship, you know, I think a lot of people reach that stage where they're like, these patterns keep occurring. I need to like be with somebody who wants to like work on these unconscious forces. And if a person hasn't come to terms with that, you know, maybe they had a great childhood, but you know, if you have your issues, there's just eventually something's gonna come up if that person isn't also interested in working on. You could definitely find people who want to work on relationships.
Yeah, and I'll say too that it makes a big difference. Like if you're seeking out people, this is another thing. If you have childhood with a parent who's unwell in some way, like mentally, or they have addictions, emotionally, whatever, or even physically sometimes, you may have a propensity to seek out other people in friendships or relationships who are unwell, who you know, you're used to caretaking, you're used to like helping in some way, and so but if you're in a relationship with someone who's pretty good, you know, emotionally, you know, everyone has their issues, everyone's kind of working through things, but if they're, you know, then being, ideally you don't want to be enmeshed with someone like in an unhealthy way, but when you're enmeshed with someone that's a little healthier, it's not so bad, as opposed to being enmeshed with someone who's like addicted to heroin, and then it's like a nightmare.
You can save them,
yeah, it's like a total nightmare. So
you don't want to go to the opposite extreme of finding somebody who triggers nothing in you either.
Yeah,
so
well,
it's
you
like,
probably won't be attracted to that person.
Yeah,
you know,
it's best to find somebody who plays in a little bit to what you're neurotically seeking, but then they also want to do the work around that, and then that is the work of that relationship that you're in. And if you can complete it, you'll either stay with that person or your work is done and you go on to a different kind of relationship.
Yeah.
I would say I don't really remember what you're saying, so I'm not making a judgment here. Mm-hmm. Can you explain why this is here?
The Two of Pentacles.
The Two of Pentacles. I don't understand that one as well.
I was just saying that she's probably just now coming into a place like I said that I don't do a past, present, future positioning, but this kind of does seem like past, present, future in a way. So we have like the past experience of the Tower, the present of the Queen of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles is maybe both present and future, where you're coming into balance right now. So you don't have to expect that you're going to be perfect with this like right away. It might take some time for you to find how to be open to people. Like you said, you don't want to close yourself to love. So like, yeah, you don't want to close yourself to love, but you don't want to get addicted to losing yourself in another person, right? Which that's another thing. People can kind of romanticize this, like what they think is love, but is like an addiction, where you're like, oh, I can't live without you, and like it's, you know, that's what all of our like romance movies and stuff are about. But that can turn into love, but that's not really love. That's like a kind of love addiction or love and sex addiction kind of situation. I mean, that is common in like the early stages of a relationship, and so love can grow out of that, but that is not what love is. That like intense like addiction, and then people think that's what love is, and then once the relationship starts to settle into like more normalcy, they're like, oh, I guess we're not in love anymore.
Once it gets played out to the point where it starts to become more conscious, it can turn into like more hellish stuff. If you have unconscious childhood things at play, it's like great and hot, and then it can turn into hell.
Yeah, nightmare.
Suddenly your partner's like a 7-year-old, or and they don't have any space around it. I mean,
relationships can be really...
I think you're in a great place.
Yeah.
I think you're in a really good place, like to be conscious of this and just stay with that, and you'll be drawn to people through synchronicity, through the universe, that are also kind of in a similar place, who want to bring a little bit more awareness. Because most everyone's been fucked up a little bit by relationships that they're in. So if it's a more intelligent, more developed person, they're going to be looking for like, okay, I want to have a relationship, but I don't want this to keep reoccurring. It's exhausted itself.
Right.
So
certain patterns, unhealthy patterns. Yeah. Should we pull an oracle card?
Yeah.
Oh shit. We have conflict.
We shouldn't have pulled it.
And what's funny is, look, the Two of Pentacles and the conflict card. That happens sometimes with the oracle cards, is they'll visually overlay, or they'll kind of speak to one of the cards in the deck.
What's interesting is the chaos of the arrows. They're just going everywhere. It's coming from this person's, like, the shield is kind of open to the arrow. This person's, it's like they're kind of like moving as an arrow goes by. So maybe like, the context that you're in is that there's kind of these conflicts going on around you. And this person is kind of, looks like they're kind of navigating these arrows going by. It's in the shield, it's outside the shield. It's just like,
and trying to figure out how to not get like hit by these arrows,
these Cupid arrows.
Cupid's poisoned arrows. Cupid has 2 types of arrows.
In the lore it says that?
Yeah, one of love and one of indifference. It comes into play with the story of who is that? Daphne and somebody.
Cupid is a Greek god?
Well, Cupid's the Roman name. Eros is the Greek.
So he's not just like a little naked baby boy?
No, he's Venus or Aphrodite's son. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's not much to say. It seems like pretty obvious. This happens a lot with the Oracle deck, is that it's just kind of, we'll be repeating what's already been talked about here, just emphasizing a certain element, which is, when you're very sensitive, when you have this thing of being enmeshed, it's like everywhere you go, you're kind of like trying to figure out how to not get hit by other people's feelings. And I may be projecting my own experience a little bit. I hope that I'm not. I don't think that I am. I think that there's a shared...
But most people aren't trying to track. They're just walking into conflict without even knowing. So you get a chance to... You're leveling up. Mm-hmm. So all you have to do is relax and see this process. And don't be afraid you're going to bump again, because now you see it.
Yeah.
So now it's like, you have to navigate the conflicts of these kind of temptations. We'll say neurotic temptations, just unconscious temptations. But now, you can kind of... You're getting more awareness around yourself and how you are. And that's... a good place to be.
And then again, I just look at this like similarity of these two, and I would just say, like, you're finding balance right now within all of this, and to just be like patient and be gentle with yourself.
Open shield and the closed shield.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, any closing thoughts?
No.
Yeah, I think I appreciated what Sam said about like that it seems like you're in a good spot with this. aware of what's going on and you're just working on it, and just be patient. This is something that's unfolding. Yeah, sometimes when the Tower card comes up, I'm like, ooh, yeah, you're going through something, but I feel like it's more like you've gone through something as opposed to you're actively going through something. Yeah.
What's interesting about the I was looking at it as we were talking, the Tower card there is one person, it looks like they're falling, and it looks like the other person is coming out of a door.
Yeah.
So it's like there's some part of you that's consciously descended
Yeah.
the tower.
It's choosing to get to leave.
Yeah.
Instead of just falling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just interesting. The Jodorowsky deck is cool.
Yeah, this deck is good. I've probably talked about this on other episodes, but I used to use the Rider-Waite-Coleman-Smith deck, and it's just, there's too much of the maker's personality in it and neurosis in it, and then people project onto it, and I think the Tower card is one of the best examples of that, and actually I used to use the Thoth deck, and then I felt like the same thing about that, and then I started using the Rider-Waite, but this one I've been using for several years now, and it's just very neutral, yeah, which I like. Well, should we listen to the last call here? Hear from our last caller?
Yeah.
This one is kind of funny. Sam and I listened to it, and then we were like I was like, we were both had the thought, like, is this, it sounds weird.
You want to reveal to them that we listened to it?
Yeah. Well, I listened to the
ahead of
calls ahead of time, making sure that people aren't like,
They're calling in
weird.
for these are live calls, folks.
I think they know. But I don't know. So I'm like, it had never occurred to me that people could use AI to call into the show.
Yeah, so
we're not really sure. If you didn't use AI, I hope I don't offend you by saying that, but that your voice, because sometimes people also are reading, I think they've written something, I can tell they're reading what they wrote, which is totally understandable.
you have a lovely voice.
You have a lovely voice, which you all will see in a moment, but there's something where I was like,
a voice of a duchess.
Literally, yes. Okay, should we hear this?
Yeah. So you want to wear these?
Okay. Yeah, we have, I don't know if I'll want to wear these rose-colored glasses, which was a therapy. Like, that term comes from a therapy, and it really, like, even right now, I'm like, oh, the world looks better right now.
Let me take a hit.
And you can use all different colored glasses, and they will affect your perception, like the different colors in different ways. But the pink is the best, I think.
What is blue supposed to do?
I don't know. I would imagine it would be a little bit stimulating because of the blue light, but I don't know. We have all those colored glasses, but I never really use them.
I don't really like the blue one.
I don't either. I just like the pink
I would like a
ones.
different tone blue, maybe.
I'm gonna wear these. I got.
The pink seems like it's the best.
Yeah, get a pair of rose-colored glasses. You don't have to spend a lot on them either.
We should get some cool expensive pairs from like online.
How much would an expensive?
Like the stuff that people like advertised on like Joe Rogan.
That you
Dave
need,
Asprey.
you need to have. Well, it's different with like a blue light blocking glasses because I think you do.
So those don't
want
block
them.
blue light?
These ones?
Just intrinsically?
I don't know. They must intrinsically somewhat, but I don't know what like spectrum of light they block. Anyway, all right. Let's hear from our AI Duchess,
The Queen.
the Queen.
Hello, happy Valentine's Day, and congratulations on your recent marriage. I love the show, and I hope you'll put out more episodes soon. This might be kind of a strange question for you, but I'm wondering how should I go about meeting someone who I can have a serious relationship with? Someone who wants a serious relationship. My heritage is Indian, and the way that my family wishes me to meet someone is through family connection. I haven't wanted to do it this way, but I've had such bad luck on my own that I'm starting to lose heart. I guess my question is, what advice do the Coens have for me in finding my special someone? Also, how did you and your husband meet? Anyway, that's all. Thank you, Kathryn.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah, it is a very lovely voice. And I feel like British accents, you're set for life if you have like one of those kind of British accents.
Yeah.
I mean, does
Where
everyone feel that
where
way?
does this person live? Did they say?
No.
I feel like you could probably you get guys. That's your problem. Like you've
Oh, because of
you
the
know,
accent?
Yeah, come to America and
Yeah, come to America. Well, I assume she said she's Indian heritage. I assume there's a lot of British people, a lot of Indians in England. So I assume she's in England from that accent. But then she said she's Indian. So anyway, there's not. I don't know why it didn't transcribe either. But
she asked how we met.
she asked how we met. Which
Well,
don't make a joke.
Kathryn-
Do not make a joke.
I was looking to buy some black tar heroin, and I was in Tijuana.
That's not it.
And Kathryn, I met her on the street, and she's like, I gotta hook up.
No. We met at just a mutual friends party.
Oh yeah.
And we were friends for
Many years we were just
many
friends.
years. But really good for like immediate deep
Immediate connection
friends.
and friendship.
Yeah.
And then like years apart, living in different places, just you know,
Yeah.
texting and stuff every now and then, and then eventually, I asked her if she wanted to be in a relationship, to put it simply,
Yeah.
and here we are.
Here we are. And then Sam came out to Rhode Island, and I thought he was just gonna stay for a visit, and then he just ended up moving in with me and just never left.
Yep.
And now we've been together in relationship for 8
Yeah.
years. 8 years this summer.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And now we're married.
Yep. Married.
But I'll say too that like I used to think that people who started out as friends and then didn't get into a relationship later, that there's something like off about it. But I mean, this is like the best relationship I've ever had for sure. And I think it's just sometimes timing is different. So caller anyone, you may already like know you're special someone, but it's just not the timing, isn't right.
Yeah,
Things
or there's just
change.
value of, the whole, like, not thinking about the whole, like, friend zone thing. If you, somebody who can't handle that anyway is maybe not someone you want to be with.
Right.
But just making friends with people that you feel attracted to their personality, or physically. I'm not saying just their personality, but, like, people that you're just attracted to. And, you might find a more sophisticated relationship that has everything you want in it. I don't know.
Well, let's see what the cards have to say.
Okay, let's see what the cards say.
Don't check your watch. Where are you?
I thought that was low key. They can't see it on the.
Let's wrap this up. I got things to do. People to see.
Time is money, babe. I work on Wall Street.
I had to pay a lot of money to get Sam on the show. Oh, interesting. So, interesting layout. So we have the King of Swords, the Four of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. So it's interesting to have the two kings on either side, and then to have the Four of Wands in the middle, which the four is one of the most kind of balanced numbers in the tarot, and then the kings also have a kind of balanced energy, so it just feels like a very grounded card overall. I would just say, I'll say my initial thoughts about these if you don't mind, unless you have.
No, go ahead.
You look concerned.
Well, I don't know the kings of the suit cards. I haven't put that all as much thought into that.
I would think that you would.
Maybe now I'll see.
Okay. Well, I'll just say what I think. I can tell you a little bit about the Kings if you want. My thoughts about the Kings. And this is for everyone, a little educational thing, which, by the way, I have a class on my Patreon about the court cards where I talk about Page, Knight, Queen, and King. I also have classes about the suits, about the numerology, about the major arcana, an intro to tarot series where I talk about how to give a tarot reading and like how to get started reading tarot. And I give an example reading to Sam back in like 2021, I think.
Sure.
But
Forgot about that.
all of those classes, there's like 30 plus hours of classes about tarot on my Patreon, plus maybe 70 or so other classes on other topics like herbalism, making herbal smokes, herbal aphrodisiacs, the Book of the Dead, symbolism, having healthy boundaries. I don't know, a bunch of other stuff that I can't think of right now. But all of those classes are all available for $5 a month. It's a very, very good deal. I think a lot of people who are probably better business people than me would probably charge like $70 for each class or something.
Well, I think you're a great business person. I think you're just not trying to
exactly
extract as much as possible out of people.
I just want this to be like accessible because, yeah. But then sometimes what's hard is sometimes if you don't charge a lot of money, people think it's not valuable. But it's really, I feel like I've put like a lot into all those classes. But anyway, so I do have a more full class about the court cards. But basically the Kings I look at as they are at the level of completion of mastery of their suit. So they are at peace, they are at home, they are comfortable within their suit, and they're the master. Right. They know how it all works. And so like with the King of Swords, the swords have to do with, they're the element of air, they have to do with the way that we think. So the King of Swords is in control of his mind, and he knows how to use his logic, he knows how to use his intellect to his advantage. The King of Pentacles is the same thing, except instead of the mind, it has to do with physical world experience. So he's in control of finances, health, career, these sort of things.
Is there a Queen of Pentacles?
Yeah, there's queens of all the suits.
I
don't know. I told you that he knew tarot, and
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't thought about it for a minute.
Yeah.
But I know the King of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite too.
Yeah,
Now it all makes sense.
He has all like the grapevines.
Right.
Rider-Waite, yeah. So having like kings on either side, it feels like, tap into this part of yourself that has mastery over your mind and over your physical world experience. If your accent tells me anything, you probably have maybe physical world experiences under control. You sound like you got some money, but maybe not.
Maybe just
and the swords, I can't tell. I mean, accents will do a lot for
she's
you.
like the Great Gatsby. She just has mastered the aristocratic.
Or it's just a computer.
Or it's just a computer, but we'll just say it's not.
Yeah, but but either way, having like having a sense of confidence in where you're coming from outside of partnership, not necessarily, seeking like, okay, I need this other being to complete me. And I will say that I think sometimes people take that notion a little too far. They're like, I don't need anybody. I'm on my own. I'm fine. You have to like love yourself before you can love anybody else. And I don't think that that's really true. I think that we gain so much from relationship and in so many different ways. So I'm not necessarily saying that, but there's the sense of like, you are okay. There is a certain level of like peace and groundedness in these areas. And if you don't feel that way, if you're listening and you're like, no, then this is an invitation to tap into that part of yourself, because it is there, a part of yourself where your mind is under control. Like if you find yourself overthinking about this, having anxiety, worrying, blah, 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 like getting into these circular worry thinking patterns, the King of Swords quiets that down. And if you find yourself with the King of Pentacles thinking about like, clock is ticking, like the biological clock is ticking, gotta get married, gotta have kids, like I don't have enough money to buy the house that I want unless I find a partner, and all these, like, okay, just take a breath, like you're okay. And then what I like here, which I haven't touched on yet, in the middle is the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands, you know, there's a groundedness to your like spirit, to your vitality. And what's also kind of, I don't always look at it this way, but I can't help but think about this in terms of your question here, is that in the Rider-Waite Coleman-Smith deck, the Four of Wands is depicting a wedding. It's depicting a wedding or some kind of like coming together of man and woman in celebration. A lot of readers will look at that traditionally as a wedding. So there is this kind of, to me, this optimism in terms of that this is leading somewhere. In that case, if you want to look at it more literally, you could also look at having a sense of like balance or completion again within yourself. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, well, that's why I don't like the Rider-Waite deck.
I know, because it's too literal.
Too literal. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I would say, this is such lame advice, but they're just like relax. And
Yeah.
maybe that's like, you're overthinking it.
Right.
And take a step back from the struggle. And you'll you know, naturally be guided.
And to be confident without being cocky. Another thing that like a more like literal reader would look at would be like, well, I would say a not good reader would say like, you're gonna meet two older men and one is gonna be very intelligent and one is gonna have a lot of money, and then you're gonna have to choose between which one you want to marry. Like, that's how a literal reader would look at this, right? You know, anyway. But you could also look at it as like, maybe this is the kind of man that you're interested in, as someone who's intellectual, whose physical world is under control, and who is more mature, you know. So you could also be looking for those qualities in a partner.
Also, he's looking at this.
Yeah, that's true.
This one
and
is
he's looking to
away.
the future.
So
say specifically which cards, because they can't see.
The king is looking at the the king of swords is looking at the Four of Wands, and the King of Pentacles is looking away.
Oh, that's true. He's looking to the future.
He's looking to the future, you could say, sure.
That is interesting to note, I guess.
So this is grouped in some way, and then this is.
Yeah. And, you know, I'll say too, you know, because she was asking about also that she's of Indian heritage and that her family wants her to meet someone through family connection, but she doesn't really want to do that. And so, I mean, I guess I don't really need to address that because that didn't really seem to come up in this, but if that's where it comes through, whether it comes through family connection or through however you meet someone, it doesn't really matter. As long as you love the person, you like the person and love them, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you meet someone.
And if not, like, if you don't like settle for somebody you don't like, I mean, that's like
Yeah.
stupid, you know.
But I think a lot of, I mean, throughout time and even now, a lot of people meet the right person through loved ones, through being set up. Like,
Yeah,
there's nothing
maybe.
really wrong
But if
with
you just
that.
want like some kind of like material, I mean, why would you go with somebody you don't like? I guess.
No.
If
well,
you're feeling
I don't-
pressure from your family, I mean, you don't.
Yeah, that's
need to,
one thing.
you know.
Like, are you allowed to say no to who your family presents to you? Because if they can set you up with a couple of different people, you know, that's. But if they're like, this is the one, then I wouldn't like that myself. I would feel kind of trapped probably. Anyway, okay, let's see Oracle card.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't contribute that well to it, but.
No, you did great, honey. Ooh.
Ah. And we're talking.
Individuation. The sword and the stone. And, you know, speaking about mythology, that we've mentioned mythology a few times today. You know that the story of the sword and the stone, King Arthur, but it's Perseus also takes a sword out of a stone. Perseus, or no, not Perseus, the other guy who kills the Minotaur.
He gets gifted a sword, I think.
Well,
Or that's
Perseus does get gifted.
I've only
a
seen the
sword.
movie, so.
But the one who kills the Minotaur is who?
The Minotaur?
Yeah. Who's the guy that kills them?
I don't know, but we're talking. These are like demigods, like, right?
Yeah, they're demigods.
I think it's Perseus.
No, Perseus gets Medusa, and he's gifted a sword to kill Medusa. But then
We'll have to watch
guy
the
that
movies
kills the
again with
Minotaur.
Liam Neeson. Plays Zeus.
Liam Neeson plays Zeus.
Yeah.
I can't really imagine that.
No,
He's good.
I guess. I mean, the movies are okay. They're kind of evocative, but it's, they're just kind of silly.
Anyway, my point is that the sword and the stone exists in multiple cultures, which is very interesting about some myths. But anyway, individuation is great for what we're talking about here, because we're talking about like family, so I think whether or not, again, you go through family or you go through yourself or you go through friends, make this decision for yourself. Don't let anyone else make the decision for you. You can be set up, you can meet with other people, meet with whoever your aunties or your grandma, your mom wants to set you up with, but make sure it's your decision. Yeah,
you can, maybe it's, you don't have as much, you have more control than you think.
Yeah. And again, just like with the last reading, it's always interesting to me, is often the case with these oracle cards where they'll echo something in the first 3 cards. And so when I think about the connection between that individuation and the King of Swords, it's like using your intellect, using your logic, your mind, your intelligence in order to, separate yourself from your tribe to some degree, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, separate yourself from the tribe. That's the only way you're going to pull out that sword.
Yeah. And to see your own power, your own, that your power is individual. It's not, there's a certain kind of power you get from your tribal connections, but it sounds like you kind of want that more independence. Yeah. So, well, I wish you the best. Again, if that is your real voice, you have an amazing voice. You have a great accent, and
if not, the same applies to you. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Any closing thoughts on this reading?
I don't think so.
Okay. Will you top me off? Can you pour me a little bit of your
Gatorade?
Homemade Gatorade. Sam's started making homemade Gatorade recently, and it's so good.
Recipe.
Tell the folks
at home.
Well,
folks, if you want homemade Gatorade instead of that other poison, just use spring water in this case, but you can use tap water if that's all you have, and add pour some lemon juice so it gets like a little bit of a lemonade looking color. And then add quite a bit of salt, ideally higher quality salt, a few pinches in there until it tastes like lemon Gatorade. Like, it should literally taste more or less like lemon Gatorade. And if it doesn't, you didn't add enough salt, or you didn't add enough lemon, or you added too much lemon or too much salt. But you can get it when it tastes like...
He's taking it's like very serious. But it's so good. It really tastes like Gatorade, and it's very thirst quenching. And then you don't have to expose yourself to like whatever weird dyes and corn syrup.
Salt is good for you, and it's not the same as like the kinds of sodiums that are in like crappy food. But
yeah, you have to get good.
Salt is good. You don't when something tastes too salty, it means you have enough salt in your system. But if you're enjoying salt, you should just keep eating it. That's what I believe about salt.
Tell us more about all your.
Well, that, and as I said, these incense are really good. And this ball I got for Christmas when I was like 16 from my parents. And what else? I think that covers it.
You want to talk about any other
objects?
Objects. This was yours too, wasn't it?
This was mine too for Christmas when I was like 18. It's like a bookend. Mm-hmm. Parents got me a lot of glass orbs.
Oh, and you got some of these candlesticks you got with your COVID.
My money. COVID check off Etsy. These Hollywood Regency
Ram's heads.
Brass ram head candles.
For the Aries.
For the Aries.
I'm Aries rising and Mars and Aries. I have more fire than Sam does, actually. So should we pull our card of the day to close this out here?
Yeah. And let us ask, while we're pulling this, for the guidance of Miss Cleo, wherever she may be. Or not.
I don't know enough about her.
No, I don't really want to. Obviously, you can't really.
But we wish her well, wherever she may be. Okay, so the card of the day, by the way, if you're new to the show, is just for you today. Wherever you are, if you're watching this the day it comes out, or you're watching this 5 years from now, or 500 years from now, could be. This card is for you. 500 years from now.
When the Dark Age is over, 500 years from now.
Five. Speaking of five,
Oh,
we have the Five of Wands here.
tell us what you think.
Are you making a joke? Because I
No.
always pull. This is the Five. I was thinking the Five. Oh, the Seven of Swords. Remember, I was pulling that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Stop breaking this chair.
I can't help my. It wants to be touched.
No, it doesn't. It literally is breaking every time you touch it. We're gonna have to glue because more pieces fell off anyway. That's what these chairs do. That's why you don't see these anymore, because they were popular in the 70s and 80s, and then I think they've all just like fallen apart. And they're not comfortable. They are not comfortable. I have to have multiple pillows and cushions on these, so I don't think they're really meant for sitting. They're just aesthetically pleasing. Anyway, Five of Wands. The main word that I think of with the Five of Wands, I feel like Sam's going to disagree with me here, but is conflict.
No. False.
You have conflict about it.
Conflict, yeah. I mean, that's interesting.
Well, the wands, as I mentioned, you have to do the element of fire. They're like vitality, life force. The Five is an interesting, I will say, point within the numerology, within the progression from aces to tens in tarot, where the Five is this kind of turning point. It takes us from, numbers 1 through 4 are more, we're beginning, it's a little bit more personal. And then numbers 6 through 10 are a little bit more complicated, more complex, and a little bit more, they're still personal, but they hit us on a deeper level. And the Five is that point in between.
So how is the 5 different than the 7 of Wands?
The 7 is a little bit more developed. The 7 can also be
Complex and nuanced?
complex and nuanced, yeah, the 7 is. But the 7 can also be a difficult point. Usually the 7s can be kind of a point of contention for people, because all of the odd numbers in general can kind of be points of contention, because you're moving from a place of stability into something new, into new territory.
So what about the 3?
The 3 also, but the 3 is usually tends to be a little bit more optimistic to me.
Why?
Because I think.
Well, I mean, what does it affect? How is the 3 different if you pull it?
What do you mean?
More earthy, more immediate?
I think it's just because you're
More
still
basic?
kind of beginning. Yeah, it's more basic. So there's usually like in the early
Simple.
stages, you're more excited about like, and naive, is you can be more like, yeah, like I don't know where I'm going, but I'm excited about it. And but as we kind of like develop through the suit, it can be a little bit more complicated, and that can make it a little bit more contentious or tense or difficult. But it can also feel really good moving into new territory. But the 5s, I think the 5s in general can be more difficult cards in the deck, but not automatically. But I would just say, for the card of the day, to look at places in your life today where you might be automatically reactive, unconsciously reactive, where someone says something, you see something online, you hear something, you have a thought, and just if you start to notice yourself getting triggered, getting upset, getting irritated, and that can span a lot of different expressions of emotion, from just like a little bit of like like, oh, like, I don't like that, to like, fuck this person, like, oh, I'm gonna kill him, you know? It's like all through that range of frustrations, depending on your patterns and kind of how you operate. But just, if you can, you know, just notice areas where you might get kind of tense or frustrated, and try to slow it down before you react. And it's kind of a funny thing too, because, you know, for like me, I don't react in anger. It's not my go-to unless I'm like really, really, really upset. But that same kind of like how someone else might respond in anger, I might respond in like nervousness or anxiety, or, you know, a more inwards focused kind of energy, whereas other people might have a more outwards focused kind of energy. Like, I'm trying to solve my uncomfortable feeling by going inwards. Other people might try to be solving their uncomfortable feeling by going outwards, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Were you zoning out?
Not because of what you're saying.
Now I'm angry. I'm gonna have to.
I'm just tired.
Maintain myself. I was just saying that if, you know, like,
Sorry.
for me, like, for some people, if they have an uncomfortable feeling, they might get angry at something outside of themselves to
Right.
get out of the feeling, whereas I and like other people might have more of an inwards, where like instead of getting mad at external, I might get anxious or try to kind of turn it inwards of like, how can I fix this like situation?
Yeah.
So I guess either way, you know, people kind of go either way, and one's not better than the other. It's just like different trauma and different conditioning. But just if you notice where your reactions come up today, and try to catch them before they get out of hand, before they take on a life of their own. You have any thoughts about that?
No, that's good. Yeah, I mean, the whole nation is probably.
Yeah, everybody is.
Everyone's
I
insane.
know. Everyone's like, not everyone, but everyone's being encouraged, I would say, at this time to be highly reactive.
Yeah, which is not a necessary requisite for any kind of action,
Change,
any kind of
yeah.
movement in the world. You don't need rage. You don't need insanity
Yeah.
to be motivated.
Well.
Right, now let's talk about Israel, Trump, Epstein.
And don't try to not get upset. Okay, well that's it. I usually like to, I usually do this before I do the card of the day, but I just like to let people know where they can find me. I do, if you enjoy the show and you want to support the show, a nice way to do that is through Patreon. I have different tiers on Patreon. Like I said, I have the video classes that I do on there. I have monthly tarot forecasts, and I also have, this is nice. I also have monthly herbal care packages, which Sam every month helps me pack up. And every month I send a little herbal care package to your door. This past month, I sent out this really nice kind of Valentine's Day relationship elixir called Between Us. And I do have extra bottles of that in my shop, but it is the tastiest elixir maybe I've ever made. Sam just keeps like he just likes how it tastes, so he keeps taking it. I used cacao nibs, and it just tastes like liquid chocolate. It's so, so good. But if you sign up for the herbal care package tier, you also get access to the video classes and the monthly tarot forecasts. There's also things like there's different PDFs that have exercises for working with the different energy centers. I have a meditation invitation on my Patreon where there's a bunch of pre-recorded guided meditations, a video class on how to start meditating, a Q&A about meditation. I put all of that stuff out last summer. If you want to get a tarot reading from me, I do offer them through my website, kathrynsoley.com/tarot. And I offer those in two formats. One is the monthly tarot forecast, personalized tarot forecast, and each month I send about a 15-minute pre-recorded tarot reading that is personalized to you, and a photo of the cards that you got. And that has been one of my most popular offerings over the years. I have people who have been getting those monthly tarot forecasts for like 8 years now, and people, you know, you can come and go, people come and go with that, but I get a lot of positive feedback from that. And then I also offer, if you have like a one-off question, you know, just like I want some clarity around this, you can get a tarot reading through my website as well. I do have a shop, kathrynsoy.com/shop, where I sell flower essences, elixirs. I sell these mugs. They're on sale right now, and I'm not going to be restocking these. So if you're interested in one of these beautiful 1-800-CALL-KATHRYN mugs, you can find those on my website. I sell necklaces, and I sell other things, all sorts of things.
This mug is made out of ivory. If you're an elephant fan, you could bring some ivory home.
No, it is not. Right when you said that, I was thinking about our British collar.
Oh, she has some ivory stuff.
Right,
probably.
yeah. But... is that it? Oh, and then the Poisonous Plant Medicine course, which is currently on sale. I think it's somewhere between 20 to 30% off right now. I can't remember what the percentage is, and it's from my most recent live class that I did. The Poisonous Plant Medicine course is probably why a lot of you are here watching this, but it's a really special offering that I do. Over the years, hundreds and hundreds of people, maybe 2,000 people at this point, have taken the level 1 of the course. We talk about poisonous plants, we talk about plant spirit communication, we talk about myth, we talk about trauma, we talk about our own psyches, we talk about symbolism, talk about different, all different kinds of things. The crone archetype. I really love that class, and the one that is currently available was just like my favorite group in a long time. They were just a really like engaged, lively group, and I rarely ever put the course on sale, so it's on sale right now if you're interested. And keep calling into the show. I don't know what the fate of this show is long term, but I'll keep probably putting out episodes as long as I'm getting calls coming in. So call into the show. And thank you, Sam, for being my favorite guest I've ever had on the show. And anything you want to say in closing?
No, it's been a pleasure to be here in your studio with you. No, I don't have anything to say.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. And
isn't she lovely? Isn't she lovely?
that's nice, honey. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.